So next up on the show, we have Drew Dober, UFC lightweight, recently welterweight, coming off a big win at UFC on Fox 27. Man, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good,
Great,
good.
great. That fight was a pretty exciting fight. You guys went back and forth. And he was pretty much counting your shots, but like you're like a Terminator, man, just going forward. Is there any injuries coming out that fight, or how do you feel after that exciting fight?
Just all cosmetic injuries, just like black and blue eyes. That I feel like I still have
Yeah,
one.
yeah, you do. I can see that.
But I mean, my body felt like I was in a car accident, but nothing serious. Like nothing that's keeping me out of training.
Nice, nice. So at this last fight, you were at welterweight. Now you obviously had some discussions with the commission. They forced you to go up to welterweight. Tell us how that all went about in terms of like going back and forth with them, and they pretty much forced you to fight at welterweight, right? Or how did it go on your end? On your end.
Yeah, so the California Athletic Commission, like after my fight with Berkman, they said that they highly suggest I move up to welterweight, and that's not a career move for me. So actually, I wanted to stay at lightweight. I had a couple offers at lightweight that I was able to take. I actually took this fight as a lightweight and actually signed the bout agreement.
Yeah.
But I guess the fight couldn't get licensed at 155, not because of me, but because Frank Camacho has missed weight a couple times.
Yeah.
And so I really liked the matchup. I think the fight had a lot of potential. So I just said I'd fight him at a catch weight. And so the UFC said, they didn't want to do a catch weight. So I said, I'll just fight him at welterweight then. Yeah. So,
and today's MMA, it's becoming like the weight issues are a big issue in MMA today. How do you feel about commissioners pretty much not forcing you, but suggesting you to go up or down? Like, do you like that suggestion, or would you just have where like you can just weigh as much as you want?
So I mean, it's like a catch-22. Like I appreciate the concern over the fighter's health, but I feel like these guys are not really educating themselves on like the process and the reason for it.
Right.
I've never missed weight, and then the way I cut to 55, like I'm perfectly fine. It's not unhealthy at all.
Right.
I personally think what would be unhealthy is if I stayed at 170 and fought guys that are like naturally walking around over 200 pounds.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Tyron Woodley's a big dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I would love to, stay at welterweight and like not have to cut weight at all. But I mean, those guys are coming in like almost twice my size.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think lightweight is a pretty competitive weight class for me.
Yeah. And then the fight overall was great. I mean, obviously it showed in your conditioning how much better you were than Frank Camacho, and it was like I think that alone was like one of the biggest takebacks from that fight, that your conditioning was top notch, and it pretty much carried you the rest of the fight. Where with Camacho, man, he gassed halfway through the fight. It was a tough battle. It was a tough battle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the privilege of training in Team Elevation in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like that might have helped, quite a bit. With Frank coming in from the Guam Islands, it's pretty much sea level. So that could have helped. And I didn't really change anything as far as like my conditioning, my diet, or anything like that. I trained like it was a lightweight bout.
Yeah.
And so I just did the road work. I did the conditioning. I did everything I needed to do. So I felt my conditioning was fine up until he found my body in like the last minute of the third round. Like he kicked me in the body like 3 times in a row. So that didn't feel great.
Yeah. And your post fight, like you really didn't mention what's next for you. Like, do you want to fight this year? And if so, against who?
I don't have really any names, but I really would like to fight 3 more times this year. 2017, I only fought once. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
So I just want to stay active. Stay active at lightweight, and I'm kind of I'm a believer in it's not who you fight, but how you fight.
Yeah. Right.
So I care less of who they put in front of me. The only thing I care about is being a better fighter every time I get in the cage.
Yeah. What do you make of your division right now? Because you're one of the top names that people could throw out there and set up with the top contender and all that. What do you make of your division?
My division is super stacked. I mean, there's tough guys from the top 5 all the way to guys just entering the UFC. So I just got to prepare myself for just going to war every single time I'm in there. I prefer like stand up, punch face battles that get another fighter a night.
Yeah.
So I'd be looking forward to getting like an Edson Barbosa or like guys that just stand there and trade with me.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And your division is kind of weird because it's being held up by Conor. The UFC hasn't really officially took his title away, which is kind of weird. Even though they have, but they haven't really said it. Do you consider Tony the champ, or do you still think Conor is a champ? And coming up is Ferguson and Khabib. Maybe your pick on that fight, and who do you think is going to win that fight between Ferguson and Khabib?
In my opinion, I think the winner of the Ferguson and Khabib fight will be the champion.
Yeah.
I think whoever wants to wear the belt, whoever like claims to wear the belt, I think the most accomplished fighter in the division would be the winner of the Khabib and Tony Ferguson. And Conor's only fought lightweight once. Yeah. I mean, he beat the champion, so you can't argue that. But I think this interim fight and the interim champion has far more like prestige than Conor. How I think the fight would go down. I feel Tony Ferguson, even though he's found a way to win, he's been caught before. He's struggled a bit. Or Khabib, for some reason, he just looks perfect.
Yeah.
He doesn't lose.
He just mauls guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd probably put my money on Khabib.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You walked away with out of the fight, fairly unscathed. I mean, you don't really have any major injuries, right?
No, not at all. Just a whole lot of bumps and bruises, like all over my body.
Do you think when are you aiming to return back into the cage?
Well, I just took like a week off, just hung out with friends and family, and so the fire and the hunger is back. So I'm gonna get back to Denver and get right back into training. So hopefully in 8 to 10 weeks, I'll be back in the cage.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Like you've been a professional since what? I think 2009, right? Like you've been a professional fighter, and it's been what, like almost 10 years. Is your love for the sport still there, or is it kind of feeling? Because nowadays, especially with today's UFC, it's all politics and a bunch of guys kind of moving up because of their mouth, not because of their skills. Like is your love for the sport kind of dying down, or is it the same way?
I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, my love for martial arts, my love for competition, and my love for glory has not died down at all. I've hit a lot of bumps and obstacles in my path, but it just motivates me. Any mistake, any loss, any adversity just motivates me even more I know exactly what I want, and that is performing in front of the audience in the UFC and then trying to achieve that goal. And still to this day, I'm just as enthusiastic as I was when I was 21.
Yeah. And in that span of time, what do you say one of the biggest lessons that you've learned since when you first became a professional and now till now?
So many lessons. Actually, probably the biggest lesson I just learned, as of recently, which was something I was doing in my early 20s, which is just enjoying the moment, enjoying what I do. Everyone, or I feel I was like dwelling on, losses, dwelling on, what's ahead of me, look at this giant mountain that I have to climb. But I forgot, like, this is what I love doing. The sweat, blood, and tears is what I chose and what I absolutely feel passionate about. So when I fought Josh Berkman, I just took a moment to just enjoy being in the locker room, enjoy being in the pit, hearing my walkout, and just enjoying being under the lights.
Yeah. And
just kind of, So it really is just enjoying the journey. So instead of looking at the top of the mountain and just, when am I going to get there? Just kind of just enjoying, like, this is the process. This is what I love doing.
Yeah, and it must be like for awesome knowing that there's like stability in mixed martial arts. Like you have companies like Bellator who offers a lot of money to their fighters, and you have the UFC. So it kind of gives you, it's kind of encouraging knowing that if things don't work out in the UFC, you could always go to Bellator. And I know once, like you formerly fought for Bellator a while back, along with Titan FC. Is there a chance that maybe you would want to leave the UFC one day and kind of go back to Bellator? And because Bellator's making big things right now.
I wouldn't say I want to. I got in this sport for more of like the glory,
Yeah.
and I feel fighting in the UFC just has more of that prestige and just like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But like worst case scenario, if I were to, get cut by the UFC and then get signed with Bellator, I think that's where most of the sponsorship money's at.
Yeah.
So that'd be pretty cool. I really admire Michael Chandler, and he's got a fight coming up. So it'd be such an honor to fight that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And you don't even necessarily have to be cut nowadays. People are just leaving. People are just heading over there, going free agent, getting on a win streak, going free agent. It's
what I've heard. That's what I've heard. But
yeah,
I prefer fighting in the UFC.
Yeah, there is a certain prestige. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, a fight between you and Michael Chandler would be awesome because Michael Chandler, I think, is one of the best lightweights outside of the UFC. Like, you can put him maybe top 5, and like his style and your style will be a pretty awesome fight to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I watch a lot of his like social media posts, and the dude's doing great, awesome things. So I'm excited to see him get that title back.
Awesome. So you got fight of the night your last outing. What did you do with the money? Did you put into savings? Did you kind of go and splurge a little bit? Did you buy yourself anything?
I mean, I'm gonna try to save the hell out of it, and use it to create a cushion until my next fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came back home and visited family, so I'm actually currently shopping for a car for my mother.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that's what I'm using the money for.
Yeah, you are. What a nice guy. I have to ask you about this question. Like your thoughts on Ronda Rousey. She was the biggest name, besides Conor McGregor in the UFC. Now she's in WWE making a shit ton of money. Like your thoughts on her career move, and do you think that fans in MMA won't care about her wrestling career because how she left MMA?
It's disappointing her last 2 go-rounds in the UFC.
Yeah.
But now she gets to train and pretend to fight for a lot more money.
Oh, I know. Isn't that crazy?
More power to her. She doesn't have to get punched in the face actually and earn a lot more money.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great deal for her.
Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of people consider Dana White to be the best promoter, but I think Vince McMahon is, because if you can sell out the Dallas Texas Stadium on fake sports, that's crazy.
Yeah, people just love the
spectacle of it,
testosterone, the soap opera.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you do it, man? That'll be a pretty cool move for you going to WWE.
That'd be extremely cool. I mean, if I get offered, I'll go on board.
Are you a fan of pro wrestling or not really?
I wouldn't say I dislike it, but I don't follow it completely.
Okay.
I've been to a couple live shows, and I don't mind watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Nice. Now you're an alumni of the Ultimate Fighter. It's kind of the feelings towards Ultimate Fighter have kind of gone down. The interest levels. What's your take on the show nowadays? And you think it still has any life in it to keep it going?
The last one was kind of, to me, it was a little disappointing. It wouldn't hold that same kind of interest and that same kind of excitement. Mm-hmm. The next one, they have a bunch of undefeated athletes. Yeah. Like all the guys that are going to get in the house, whatever, are going to be undefeated. So that'd be exciting. I don't know. I think, when you go to the well too often, they're on their 20th season or something like that.
Yeah.
It just loses something. So they got to do something to spice it up, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe Tuesday Night Contender will probably eventually replace the Ultimate Fighter sometime in the future. But if they ask you to do another show, I know you've been there before. I think it was 2015. I think you were on. Would you do it again for maybe a comeback show, and then I guarantee you some maybe a title shot or more money,
or even coach
yeah.
I think the coaching would be a lot of fun. That'd be super cool. I think I'd go on it again. Yeah. With the redemption season, one of my buddies, James Krause, was on it. And he's, that kind of story, that process.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I wouldn't mind doing that. That'd be really cool. Because plus you get to, fight, was it 3 or 4 times in a 6-week period?
That must be. I don't know how you guys do it, man. Cutting weight each week, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think the cutting weight part would be the most difficult part for me.
That's insane.
Yeah, how was the process like that for you in the house? Did you cut a lot of weight? Did you kind of manage your time?
So I didn't make it into the house. I was just kind of prepping. Yeah, so I lost on like the first episode.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
But no, it's all right. I planned because the season that I was on was the live season, so you're there for 12 weeks, and so I was just kind of preparing my body to maintain a super low, like natural walking around weight. So I was doing like a ton of like morning, like fasted cardio to get my weight physically. So like lose muscle mass, lose whatever, just so I can, make weight numerous times if needed. Yeah. But luckily I didn't have to because I didn't make it in the house.
Yeah. But with the live version, I always thought the live version, they should go back to the live version though. Like, I don't know if you have a similar feeling since you were on the live version. Did you like the live version?
I personally think it took away from learning the fighters' stories. Because like the live version where it was exciting because you're like, oh man, it's happening right now as we speak. It kind of took away from, that the editing or the production value of, watching the guys in the house and like learning their story and stuff like that. I prefer the pre-recorded version. Honestly,
yeah, because people can get invested and let them know your story. Yeah, people like good storytelling. That's why WWE is so popular.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, do you have any outside hobbies that you have, outside of fighting? Like, do you go to the club and pick up on girls, or what do you do?
I'm honestly just a super nerd. So when it comes to me just chilling out on the weekend, trying to take my mind off fighting, it's usually coffee and books, or video games, or just wine and hanging out with some friends.
Nice. What's your go-to video game that you like?
I literally was just playing, like, literally all camp for my last one against Frank. I picked up Elder Scrolls Skyrim again.
Okay. Nice. Classic, yeah.
Awesome, man.
And I was just playing the crap out of that.
Hey, you have like Mighty Mouse and Rampage have Twitch, channels. What do you ever consider getting your own Twitch channel
for you, man? It's a great platform.
Possibly. I'm kind of like literally a nerd when it comes to like nerds, where I just play the games that are not like on like the online. I don't play like the Call of Duty. I play like the RPGs and just keep to myself.
Okay. And nerds.
I picked up Call of Duty, and man, those little 10-year-olds just embarrassed me. So I didn't want to do it again.
I get nauseous, so don't feel bad. But but as far as nerds, like do you like comics, or just like, are you just talking about like just books in general?
Comics, books, magazines. I'm really into like fantasy and superheroes and stuff like that. Awesome. So I can nerd out pretty hard.
Ever been to Comic-Con or no?
I have actually twice, I believe.
Which one? The San Diego one or which one? Because I know they have different ones in the area.
There was one in Denver, Colorado that I went to.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Because me and Josh are big like comic nerds, so
yeah. We'll be at the Comic-Cons and all that all the time. So.
Sweet. If you're popping in Denver, just let me know.
Yeah, dude.
For sure.
Hey, your favorite comic a Netflix show?
That'd be awesome. Yeah. What's my Netflix show?
Yeah, like your favorite Netflix comic show that they have right now.
Oh man, I haven't really gotten too much in because they have the Flash. I'm more of like a Marvel over DC.
Yeah.
And so they don't really have a whole lot of solid like Marvel.
Daredevil was great. Daredevil was probably number one.
Daredevil and Punisher, maybe?
Yeah, Punisher's really good too. You should check out both.
Yeah.
On Netflix, yeah.
Check it out. I ended up just literally browsing through Netflix, but never actually watching anything.
You need to watch Daredevil. It's really good, and then Punisher's really, really good.
That's the problem. I spend most of the time just browsing the what's on there instead of watching.
And then getting tired. Never mind.
Yeah.
Man, well, we both really are happy to have spoken to you. Glad to have you on the show. We look forward to your next fight, whenever that may be. Awesome. Hopefully soon. It'll be awesome. Sometime in the summertime, maybe. But do you want to maybe let the fans know where they can find you on social media? Maybe some outside sponsors that it's not Reebok and all that.
So you can just find me my tag or handle on every social media platform is just Drew Dober.
Nice.
And then not so many sponsors, but just shout out to my team, Team Elevation in Denver, Colorado. We're doing really big things. Next weekend we got Curtis Blade fighting Mark Hunt in the Perth card. So shout out to all my friends that punch my face on Monday through Friday.
Awesome. Well, Drew, it's been a pleasure, man, and it's good to see you. Someone like you who's been a veteran of the sport, fighting for such a long time, and having so much success. in 2018. Like we really appreciate that, and nothing but the best for you and your family as well.
I appreciate it, man, and thank you so much for enjoying my performances. I honestly, I fight for the audience, and so if I can get performance or fight of the night and have you guys getting all excited about it,
we're big fans, man.
Yeah,
we're
cool,
big
man.
fans.
I appreciate it.
All right, Drew, take care, man. Have a good night.
Take care,
Thank
man.
you so much, guys.
Thank you.
All right, see ya.